Hadleigh off her feet, slung her over one shoulder like a feed sack, and carried her out of the sanctuary. At that point, Hadleigh's protests had escalated considerably, of course, and she'd kicked and squirmed and yelled all the way back down the aisle, through the main doors and outside, into a world of much wider possibilities. Most likely she hadn't been aware of that last part, being in a royal tizzy and everything. For all Hadleigh's outrage, no one had interceded. Not the preacher, not Alice Stevens, Hadleigh's grandmother and last living relative, not the stunned guests jamming the pews. Nobody moved a muscle, and nobody spoke up either. And that was a peculiar thing in itself, given the nature of small towns in general, and Mustang Creek in particular. There, folks didn't hesitate to get involved when there was a ruckus, the way they might in a big city. No, sir. These were country people. The men were cowboys and farmers, carpenters and electricians, truck drivers and garage mechanics, sure to wade in and fight if the need arose. And the women, when sufficiently riled, could be fierce, with or without their men to back them up, alone or running in a pack. This time, though, they'd all stood by and watched, the whole bunch of them, male and female, while Hadleigh was being, as she'd put it, abducted, damn it. After all, the collective reasoning went, it wasn't as if Tripp was some stranger with dubious intentions. Like the indignant bride slung over his shoulder, he was one of their own, a hard worker, decent to the core, even if he had been a little wild in his youth, and not much of a churchgoer. He'd served his country, honorably, and in a time of war, too, when the stakes were high. In places like Mustang Creek, things like that mattered. Oakley, on the other hand, hometown boy though he was, and from a prominent family into the bargain, barely registered a blip on the public opinion meter, one way or the other. Still more kid than man, he'd never exhibited signs of even modest ambition, partied all through college, and, most damning of all, forged himself a reputation for always taking the easy route. He wasn't hated, but he wasn't liked either. When the locals thought about Oakley at all, it was usually to wonder what in creation the Stevens girl, an otherwise intelligent and exceptionally pretty one at that, saw in the guy. She was nice, in addition to her other favorable qualities, and, in the town's opinion, could have had just about any eligible man she took a liking to. At that point in his mental wanderings, Junie snapped Spence back to the here and now with a soft, wistful, "Isn't it romantic how Tripp and Hadleigh finally ended up together, even after everything that happened way back when?" Spence adjusted his hat, frowning. Romantic? Just hearing the word, let alone saying it aloud, made him a little nervous, although he wouldn't have admitted as much. Sure, okay, he was glad for the newlyweds. Tripp and Hadleigh wanted to spend the rest of their lives together, and they were obviously meant for each other. They'd traveled separate trails, long and lonely ones mostly, before their paths finally crossed again, and after some fuss and fury, decided to buckle down and forge the kind of relationship that can ride out practically anything. And if anybody, anywhere, deserved happily ever after, it was those two. Still, as far as Spence was concerned, Tripp and Hadleigh were the exception, not the rule. He felt what he always did when a buddy got married, a certain bittersweet relief that he hadn't been the groom, standing up there in front of God and everybody, vowing to hang in there for better or for worse and all the rest of it. In the event that things wound up on the for better side of the equation, great. Bring on the house with the picket fence, the regular sex, and the crop of kids that usually followed. But what if for worse was the name of the game? And let's face it, the statistics definitely indicated that the odds of success were somewhere around 50-50. For Spence's money, a man might as well make it.